Globalization affects our lives whether we know it or not.
What is globalization exactly? Well, simply put it is a description of how countries and the people in their country integrate and interact. This coffee, for example, is from Kenya and Ethiopia. When with such a heavy impact on our lives and surprisingly low number of people actually understand what it is.
In today's segment, we'll interview 3 people. One person right here from Sussex, a foreign exchange student, and of course somebody from the Waukesha community. This is 43 Minutes. Yes, like I'm really ready to put my 2 weeks in. Do you know they tried to sell me coffee with milk? Oh my god, okay, I'll go. Good morning and welcome back to 43 Minutes. Today we have our first guest speaker, Chelsea, right here from our hometown of Sussex. Let's all give Chelsea a warm welcome.
It's an honor to be here on 43 Minutes. Like, it's just such a step up from 60 Minutes, you know?
I know. So, tell us about yourself. What do your parents do?
Okay, well, my mom is both a former Miss Wisconsin, which is like a really big deal, I know, and she's also a professor at Marquette, and my dad is actually like one of the head guys for the human resources department at Nike.
Oh, that's cool. Wow, Nike. Well, speaking of Nike, did you know that they're known for having their sweatshops that pay the workers about $125 a day? And on top of that, their working living conditions aren't even that great. Nike workers are living in very small boxes and they have to fit up to families of 5 to 10 people. And according to the documentary of Behind the Swoosh, Nike workers are not even allowed to talk about their working conditions in fear of being terminated or even worse. Can you imagine that?
I mean, yeah, like 125 a day doesn't really sound like a lot, but compared to other jobs that they would be working if Nike wasn't there, it's a super trendy job. Like, the conditions there would be so much worse if Nike wasn't there, and the pay would be lower, and people with larger families wouldn't be able to support themselves. John Stossel actually said in an interview that Nike being there and having manufacturing plants in these third world countries is a form of economic globalization, and it allows both sides of the groups to get profit off of it. And here at home we get lower prices on in-demand products, and those people who are working in sweatshops have a really steady source of income that allows them to have a higher standard of living than if they were working agrarian jobs.
Well, it was an honor having you, Chelsea. Thank you so much for coming on the 43 Minutes.
Yeah,
it was
for
a
sure.
pleasure.
Journey on globalization, we have Ava from the Waukesha community to speak a little bit more about our question today. Is globalization really just the Americanization of the world?
I would say no. Globalization isn't just Americanization of the world. We do heavily influence other countries and they do adapt to our ways, but at the same time, we aren't taking away from their culture. I believe that we come into poorer countries and provide jobs for the locals, but at the same time, we could do a much better job of making sure that the living conditions are better, the labor regulations are better, and that we pay our workers much, much better. In a presentation of how American globalization influenced other countries' culture, it talks about how the American culture influenced other countries, but we never take away from their culture, which I think is very important. We also watched a clip which showed how the middle class of China is trying to save up their money so they're able to treat their children to McDonald's. So I think that while they're adapting to us and that if we were to force ourselves upon them, they probably wouldn't accept us as much, but I feel like we're all equally one.
Feel that globalization has impacted your life as a high school student and beyond, if it has, that is?
I feel as globalization has impacted our life, well, my life, very much. From online shopping, which clothes are being shipped from other countries, to even buying clothes here in the U.S. that are even made here. I know that sometimes we're not fully aware of how much globalization impacts our life, but every little thing that I can think of actually impacts our life or is not even made in the U.S., which speaks value right there. From a school standpoint, I know that our spirit wear isn't even made in the U.S., so it's being shipped for each student to wear. And also, each student this year were given a Chromebook, which eventually they'll be able to keep and take home. So this allowed each student to do research, homework, and access school materials when not, from home. But I bet no one paid attention to, if you flip it at the bottom, it says made in China and it was shipped from Ireland. So I think that says a lot right there. So even beyond high school, I know globalization will not only affect my life, but it's going to only get bigger, and I feel like it's going to be a better influence, especially
Now
in my
let's
neighborhood.
go to Maria, a foreign exchange student who's coming to us from Mexico. So, Maria, there are multiple forms of globalization. Chelsea talked about economic, which is like products and services. There's also financial, such as the global stock markets. Political is related to government movements, so that they're all like helping to precede the movement of other forms of globalization. Cultural is the exchange of food, ideas, people, and technology across nations' borders, and environmental is countries working together to solve environmental problems. Can you tell me what you think the most important form of globalization is?
Well, I don't believe that one form of globalization is better than the other just because everything does have its part to play in everything. But like my abuela said, Trump is el diablo. The presidents of the United States have all had their fair share on thoughts on how the government should be functioning. My belief is that globalization either works for you or it doesn't. Political globalization, and let's just say, for example, the free trade agreements, they play a vital role in how companies and corporations want to manufacture and distribute their products. Fair trade to me is best just because all the parties that are involved, they can get their own working conditions, how they work for them, and they're not only safe, but like it says in the name, they're fair. The farmers and producers have the bigger say in how they would like things to be run in their workplace.
That's a valid point, Maria. Having multiple forms of globalization is what truly defines the word itself.
Globalization plays a vital role in how people in the world interact with each other, and part of the reason is why technology and other modern marvels are so advanced right as they are.
I'd like to give a special shout out to the girls who joined us in this segment today, Maria, Eva, and Chelsea. Thank you so much for joining us. And now I'd like to take it to the weather, girls.
On Channel 4.
And an update on a storm. Live, we have Elise talking about the new storm in Florida.
This is Hurricane Heckman. It's that time! Yeah. in the
Okay.
very beginning. Okay. Ready. Let's go. Okay.
3 minutes.
Dun. Hey, Mr. Roth.
Hi.
Okay.
Let's just see how that.
All right, Eva.